welcome to another iAccelerate Remote. We're going to have interviews with people who are working at iAccelerate or who have been through our program. And the whole idea is to try to figure out how we can inspire you to think about how things are going in your topsy-turvy life, like all of us, thinking about how to survive, how to actually maybe potentially thrive in these uncertain times. Today we are joined by a company called Quirky and the two founders, Leo and Kimberley. I'll let you introduce yourselves and your backgrounds and maybe a little bit about the company and how you got started.
My name is Leo Rocker, and I have a business background, and I have studied social and international development in my master's kind of career. So I'm really interested in community development, make an impact through the work that we do.
So I'm Dr. Kimberley O'Brien. I'm a child psychologist and started Quirky Kid in the year 2007, which was actually the same year as we had our first child. So they've kind of grown up together. And yeah, we've now got 2 clinics and we had a team of 9 people working together, although with COVID-19 there's been some recent changes. So we've kind of downsized in terms of our team, and we're not using our clinics as much as we were previously. So we've started a new kind of business that we hope will then also benefit parents and teachers around the world rather than just seeing people face-to-face in the clinic.
Yeah, so the interesting thing for your company is you're very much a physical company as far as a place and a clinic, and you had buildings and places people came and saw you. So you went from a very physical sort of business to one that began to transition and thinking about how to offer your services in a different way. Can you take us through how that evolved, or how did that happen? Was it sort of a sudden aha moment, or did you just begin to build off of what you already had?
From early on, how can we make this more agile, more dynamic, that is not going to lock us in, to space and time? And we knew that we had a lot to share, lots of really good resources, because we're making a lot of change on people's lives on a day-to-day basis, and we really want to amplify that. So creating products was the first step. So there were physical products that we created, like the Tell Me Story cards, like those kind of nice cards and illustrations that we created over time. And they surprised us because they start to reach kind of an audience that we never anticipated.
And I think we also found that we really liked educational publishing. So not only do we like meeting with the young people and hearing the parents talk about the issues, we then like to create resources with beautiful illustrations and high quality cards that make them more durable so that kids can use them at home and at school. Of course, when things started to move more online, we've moved with that, and now we've created our first online resource.
Bright Child is our kind of first software application that came from our experience at iAccelerate, like the challenge to kind of how can you make something that's really scalable. And although we're not there yet, I think there's a lot to evolve. Bright Child was our first pivot into kind of online landscape. So that's kind of where we're really pivoting that right now, for that space where we think we can significantly impact a lot more people and be a lot mobile as partners instead of being tied up to the ground.
It's been interesting because when the clinics were busy, we found that we were constantly working on our admin systems and answering phones, getting clients, make or change bookings and things like that were taking up quite a lot of our creative time. And then with COVID-19, it seems that there's been less new referrals, which has given us more time to look at our online capacity. And thankfully, there's lots of parents at home that are homeschooling kids and teachers that are working from home that are still looking for more resources to help kids socially and emotionally. So we've kind of found our space for ourselves, as well as the time to continue developing it. Whatever the question is, the psychologists at Quirky Kid now have the time available to give a quick response with curated content and relevant articles and videos, so they get that feedback at home rather than having to come in for the appointment.
You sort of built in the resiliency before you knew how important it would be. I mean, for a lot of businesses, sometimes they have that already going on like you did, and then you just sort of say, okay, right now is a good time to really emphasize that and to really build on top of that. Other companies might be caught out a bit because they hadn't actually thought about that, going in this different direction. So they'd be more where you were, a couple of years ago, maybe, to say, okay, now we got to start this other way of thinking. If you hadn't had that going, do you think this would have been a more challenging time, or how would you have maybe thought about it just at this minute?
The reason we are in this position is because we did a lot of those pain and gains exercise that iAccelerate. So we kind of really drill down to think, are you really solving a problem? And are you creating a solution for a real problem? And what is it, and how are you solving it? So I don't think we would be able to pivot that quickly if we didn't have tried and failed a few times before that with the softwares. I think that trying and failing and investing time was essential to be in the position that we are now.
Yeah, great. And I always loved your name of the business, Quirky Kid. And then, you know, I started thinking about it in the context of broader kids. Is every kid quirky in a way? I mean, so what does it mean? What did it mean to be quirky? And now you're saying, using Bright Child as a way of maybe also rethinking how people might think about, how they would apply, or how their child might fit into this model. So can you take us through that, thinking about what was quirky and why a quirky kid, and now why a bright child?
That's interesting. Yeah. We came up with the name Quirky Kid when we were in India together, and we just wanted something that didn't have that medical kind of model attached to it, like, say, like a developmental clinic sounded so serious. We didn't want the kids to feel like they're coming into like a principal's office. It needed to be something that was creative yet clinical, to get the parents, you know, respect and buy-in, and just to have them know that we had our, you know, qualifications as developmental psychologists. And I guess with Bright Child, I was thinking that there is a little bit of a gap when it comes to working with, say, really bright kids, like, say, preschoolers that are identified as highly intelligent, like in the superior range in the IQ tests at a young age. They don't really get accelerated into, say, kindergarten early. They kind of just have to make do with preschool content. So it's interesting that we've had some parents come our way that have said, what do we do with this kid? He just loves learning, he's so bright, and found there was a little gap there. And then you can talk about.
No, I think there's like a bright side on all of us, and there's a quirky side to all of us. So it's kind of really you know, drawing on those sides, so that we're all unique and we're all bright in our own way.
Okay, so now we have really challenging times for our parents. Maybe take us through a couple of steps that you are now presenting through your new products and software.
So one thing we've been doing recently is making more video content for parents. And the first one we made sort of in response to COVID-19 was around visual schedules for families, because we know parents are working from home and then kids are being homeschooled, and having those schedules coordinated so that parents can have quiet time when they need to focus and meet deadlines, and kids can also be quiet and focused at those times too. Those kinds of things need to be planned like the night before and put in child-friendly language so that kids don't feel rejected when parents say, wait, I can't talk to you right now, if they're in the middle of a conference call. So yeah, those things are now available at the quirkykid.com.au website. So it's like a survival guide to the lockdown. And yeah, so from there, we're hoping that parents will not only get free practical skills to use at home with their kids, but then they might also sign up for Bright Child, and then they get assigned a psychologist that they can ask a quick question to anytime and get a response soon after.
Yeah, we embedded kind of video options as well. So if the parents want to have like a 50-minute chat, you know, they can really purchase like a video chat with a network of really expert professionals very, very quickly. What I found to be the most interesting part is that, so from worrying about the child has become a much bigger concern about well-being, welfare, both from the staff and parents and kids themselves. So it has become a lot more complex to manage.
And it always just feels like you're on two like different sort of slippery stones when you're going from one to the other, because sticking with one is just straightforward. Like, we know how to do clinics, but we also feel like it's like a stepping stone. It's starting to shrink and we can't stay on it for too long. We need to make the leap to the new one, because I feel like that's where the opportunities are and that's where our passion lies. But we also feel very committed to our client group and to our clinical staff. So it's been kind of an emotional time as well.
So you sense in what you offer, this is that same sort of moment where people say, you know what, I just need to get this now. I just need this help. I just need those people available to me at any time. And that you're actually going to find a lot more people find this is really now accessible. And this is something that they didn't know they could just reach out to. And now you're there. And you're feeling that with more people now?
Now is the big test, you know, is it actually going to really resonate? Our message will resonate with people, and will they find the value that they're looking for into this application? And it's probably not something that we're going to know straight away. I think there'll be a lot of trial and error, a lot of segmentation, but I think it's worthwhile. I think it's standing still or standing on this kind of melting sort of, ice cube. Yeah, iceberg. It's not the right place to stay. And I think if you don't really experiment with a lot of courage, you will never know.
Well, it's amazing, but you've shown such agility so far, and you'd have to think your investors would be saying, you know what, you sound like the right people and the right kind of business at the right time that is able to move. As you know, we've always looked at businesses, the most successful ones are the ones with the founders like yourselves who see over the horizon a little bit and prepare themselves for what's coming, and they never know. So maybe in closing, a word of advice or something that would help a parent today get through the next week with their child.
I've been actually telling parents to push back on work deadlines and work commitments and just to put their children's needs first, because I think that kids really need us now to be calm and predictable and to have structure at home that they're used to having at school. So I think get the home setting and foundations in place first before feeling that you have to, cater to the needs of your clients and fulfill all these commitments that you may have previously had, because I think parents know their limits, and it's good to kind of express those clearly so that the kids are happy, and then you can go back to all the other great ideas that you had. But trying to do those things at the same time as, keeping kids at bay and worrying about their education just is not going to work. So I think it's about your own mental health first, setting clear boundaries, and pushing back if you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. Okay. This is fantastic. I really enjoyed talking with you. I always have. In some ways, I'm now enjoying the fact that I've got more time to talk to companies like yourselves, which I don't always get to see so often in the day-to-day. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and where you're at and how you're going forward. And again, just to remind everyone, where can they go if they need more information or would like to sign up?
I think brightchild.com is where we want all of you to go. We really have early users specials. We have, if you have a frontline worker, that are trying to work with COVID-19, we're providing free subscriptions for you for a period of time. So we really want to have lots of people to come try, help us to kind of develop this application over the next kind of few weeks, really, so we can scale it there quickly and make sure that we're solving a real problem. So brightchild.com, BRITE child.com.
Great. It's been lovely talking with both of you, Kimberly and Leo, and all the best. And hopefully we'll be able to see you in person one of these days soon.
It sounds good.
Thanks so much.
See you, Anna.
Okay, bye.
Bye.